You are going to win more WNBA first half moneyline bets if you follow this exact strategy on Outlier. The most casual sports bettors are betting the first half moneyline the exact same way they would bet the original moneyline. Because in their mind, they see the same team and the same reasons, it's just a smaller number that's attached. However, that's the mistake. Because the first half isn't just a shrunk down version of the entire game, it's a completely different bet decided by a completely different set of things. For example, bench depth doesn't yet matter. Crunch time in the fourth quarter obviously doesn't matter either, and players for the most part aren't having to deal with foul trouble before the first half ends. And once you see what really decides the winner of the first half, you will no longer bet your favorite for the full game out of habit. And thankfully, we can do all of that inside of Outlier's mobile app, so let's go ahead and jump into it. And now that we are over here on the mobile app, where I am going is actually over here to the Games tab, and then I click the WNBA, and then from here we can see all of the different games going on today, tomorrow, and even this weekend. But we'll just click into this a Dream and Wings play. Now, for these different odds, these are the full game lines, so what we'll actually need to do is click into this game, and then at the bottom, you will see the game lines, the quarter, and the half. So obviously, we are betting on the first half money line, and then from here, you will see all of the different markets within the first half. But once again, we are looking at the first half money line. Now, you will see the away team, which is the Atlanta Dream at -120, and then Dallas at +108. All you will need to do is just to click into one of these, and then this is where you're going to see all of the different data, looking at their hit rates over the last 10. Now, if you wanted to look at the Atlanta Dreams over their last 10, you can see that they've hit 60% as opposed to the Wings only hitting 40%. Now, if you go to the 2026 season, you can see these different percentages as well. Wanted to look at their head-to-head, you could do that here as well. Now, this isn't just it, because if you scroll down, you will also see any lineup news, maybe any injury news, and then you will also can click into this matchup tab, looking at team records, once again, the expected lineups, injuries, and then also more importantly, the team rankings for both offense and defensive ratings for both of these teams. Now, all of this information can be a ton, but it's important that we add context to our picks and really understand how exactly we should digest all of this research. So with that said, if you really want to win more first half moneyline bets within the WNBA, then you need to pay attention here, because adding context to these plays is most definitely the key. So let's go ahead and jump back into it. So I am just going to stay on this Dream at Wings play, and let's go back to the 2026 season. And once we click into the 2026 season, again, we can see all of the different hit rates for both of these teams, 50% as opposed to 41%. So obviously the Dream has a slight edge on them. But the second that we add some context, it can give us a little bit of closure on who we should be targeting in this game. And how do we add that context? Well, all you have to do is click this little slider bar, and now all of a sudden you'll be given all of this information. So for instance, if we just wanted to start with, okay, how does this Dallas Wings team actually perform in home games? They were winning 41% of the time, but in home games, they're actually winning 67% of the time. When we're looking at the full 2026 season, you can see that they've actually only lost 4 home games this entire season within the first half. Now, if we go back, let's just turn off the home games and let's look at days of rest next. So you can see here, that is going to be 3+ days of rest for this team. And if we click apply, you can see the exact same thing. Takes a slight uptick going to 50%, but let's go back and we can click that off and look at some other filters. Now, the next important one would be this games without player. Let's just say, I'm just going to click on the very first player here, and let's just say that they were without Alana Smith. There are no injuries in this game, but let's just say that she is going to be out of this game, and let's see how that changes this. So you can already see that if there are players who are out, it has a massive impact on how these teams perform, because they were at 41%, but now they're at 14%. And in fact, they've only won one game with her out of the lineup this year. So if we wanted to use this game scripting tool correctly, it's important that we try to match this as close to today's outcome as possible. So in this situation, Alana Smith is actually in the lineup, but it is on 3 days of rest, and it is a home game for this Wings team. And what has exactly happened in there? Well, you can see here that there's only been 4 times where this has happened in the 2026 season, and they have won 3 out of those 4 times, which is obviously a much different story compared compared to their 41% hit rate throughout the entire 2026 season. Now, it's also important that we don't just consider one team, that we also need to go back and look at the other team as well, which is the Atlanta Dream in this situation. So all I'm going to do is click this X, and then I'm going to go over here and click on this. Now, the reason that I do that is because if I were to use this game scripting feature, it would still present as a home team. So it's important that I want to look at their away games, but also have it defaulted to their days of rest as well. So if we just click on away games, they were at 50%. Now it actually goes down to 46% whenever they are the away team. So obviously that takes a little bit of a hit. Now let's see days of rest. This is still going to be 3 plus days of rest for this team as well. They are both coming off of the All-Star break. And now let's see here. Okay, so now actually when they have 3 plus days of rest, they've won 6 straight games in the 2026 season when they have at least 3 plus days of rest. Now let's go back again and we can look for different injuries, seeing how, okay, how are they without this player? Actually pretty good. Now, how are they without this player? Again, actually pretty good. Now, from here, you can really start to piece all of these together and getting the true nature of that game scripting feature and seeing exactly how could this game play out in this particular scenario. Because just from this, we already checked so many boxes, from injuries, from days of rest, and even how they perform either home or away. But that's not the only thing that I check, because now the next thing that I actually check here is the matchup tab, where I can look at team rankings, right? So here we can actually see offensive rank versus defensive rank for the Atlanta Dream and then the Dallas Wings. Now, if we wanted to switch that, all we have to do is click that button. And what you'll see here, these two teams in particular actually match up pretty well. 11th, 9th, 6th, 9th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. But again, there are so many ways to digest this information, and it is completely up to you. But I highly recommend that you do that, and you can easily flip going defense to offense, offense to defense by this one button here, which is obviously a huge time saver as well. So now, from there, the next thing that I would actually check before ever placing one of these bets is the line movement, and then being able to price shop whatever sportsbook I'm going to bet on. So now once I go over to line movement, let's look at Pinnacle, Bookmaker, and DraftKings. What I actually want is to see this line trending down. So if I am picking Atlanta money line, first half money line, this is actually the perfect line movement that I want. Again, if you looked at Pinnacle, this was at minus 115 earlier in the day, and now right now at this very moment, it's at minus 131. So again, that is nearly a 15-16 cent change from what this line originally had opened up at. That's a very good indicator that the books are feeling pretty good about Atlanta winning this first half money line, because they are willing to pay you less. Now from here, if it was just between these 3 books, this is exactly where I could price shop this line. You can see that just at the top there is DraftKings, and that's exactly the book that I would go place that bet on. And now that is the strategy, plain and simple. We have added context to a bet that a lot of people just completely overlook, or say, hey, I like this team to win the full game. They've got to win the first half, right? And that is simply not always the case, because how the first half closes can be completely different to how the full game closes. So if you want to follow this exact strategy, be sure to check the description below and get started with Outlier on a 7-day free trial. Now, if you also found that this video was helpful, be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell as well, because I am dropping these tutorials every single week. Anyways, best of luck betting out there, and I will see you in the next one.